For many years, people all over the world saw strange things in the sky. Some saw bright circles of light moving very fast. Others saw dark shapes, like triangles or discs, moving without any sound. Pilots, farmers, fishermen, and even police officers told stories about flying objects that did not look like normal planes or helicopters. These objects moved in strange ways. They could stop suddenly in the air. They could change direction very quickly. They could disappear in a second. People started calling them UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Whenever someone asked the government about these UFOs, the answer was always the same. The government said it was a mistake, a weather balloon, a drone, or just lights from another plane. They said there was nothing to worry about. They said there was no proof. But many people did not believe them. They thought the government was hiding something. They felt that somewhere, in some secret place, the truth was kept in locked rooms and hidden computers. Dr. Emma Lewis was one of the people who wanted real answers. She was a scientist and worked in a secret government research center. The building had tall fences, cameras, and guards. People could not enter without special ID cards. Emma's job was to study the sky using satellites and radar. She looked for storms, strange weather, and any unusual objects. She was careful, smart, and good at her work. But she also had questions in her mind. One afternoon, Emma was in her office, looking at old files in the computer system. She was trying to find data about a storm from 10 years ago. She opened folder after folder, going deeper into the archive. Suddenly, she saw a folder with a strange name. It had no title, only a code with random letters and numbers. Most people would ignore it, but Emma felt curious. She clicked on it, and the system asked for a password. Emma tried the normal password she used every day. It did not work. She tried another code that only senior scientists knew. Still nothing. She thought for a moment, then used a special emergency password she had received for her earlier project. This time, the folder opened. When she saw the contents, her breath stopped for a second. The folder was full of files. There were videos, photos, reports, radar images, and audio recordings. The dates on the files went back more than 30 years. Emma opened the first report. It was written by a military pilot. He described a bright, round object that flew next to his jet for several minutes. The object moved faster than any plane and made no sound at all. The pilot wrote that the object suddenly shot upward and disappeared into the clouds. Emma opened a video file next. It was from a Navy ship. The camera showed a dark object above the sea. It was shaped like a triangle with lights at each corner. It was floating in the air without wings or engines. Then, in the video, the object moved sideways very quickly and vanished in less than a second. The people in the video sounded shocked. They were real soldiers, not actors. Emma felt a cold feeling in her stomach. She continued opening more files. Some showed objects diving into the ocean without making any splash. Some showed round ships moving in and out of clouds at high speed. The radar images showed impossible speeds and strange flight paths. The reports were marked with words like top secret and classified. They were not meant for public eyes. She leaned back in her chair and covered her mouth with her hand. The government had said there was no proof. But here, on her computer screen, there was not just one piece of proof. There were hundreds of pieces. For years, pilots and soldiers had seen these objects, recorded them, and written about them. The government had collected everything and then hidden it. As the day turned into evening, other workers left the building, but Emma stayed at her desk. The office lights were dim. The soft hum of machines filled the room. Her mind was full of thoughts. If she kept quiet, she would stay safe and keep her job. If she spoke, she could lose everything. But she also knew something else. Millions of people in the world had been called crazy or foolish for believing in UFOs. Now she knew they were not crazy. They were right. Emma's hands shook slightly as she copied the most important files onto a small portable drive. Her heart beat fast. She looked around the empty office, scared that someone might walk in. But the building was quiet. She placed the drive into her pocket and shut down her computer. At home that night, she could not sleep. She sat by her window, looking at the night sky. Stars shone quietly above her. Somewhere up there, she thought, something is watching us. Then another thought came into her mind. Someone on Earth must tell the truth. She knew she could not release these files alone. She needed someone who could show this to the whole world. There was one name in her mind. Mark Hill. Mark Hill was a famous journalist. He was known for investigating big stories that other people were afraid to touch. He did not easily trust anyone, and governments did not always like him. But the people did. They believed him, because he always showed proof and documents. Emma sent him a short, secret message from a new email address. I have proof of UFOs in government records. This is not a joke. We must meet in person. She did not write her full name. She did not mention the government lab. She waited, feeling her heart pound out. After some hours, a reply finally came. If this is real, we need to talk. Name the place and time. Emma chose a quiet, empty parking lot outside the city, just after midnight. It was far from cameras and crowds. She knew this was dangerous, but she felt, deep inside, that this was the path she had to follow. The next night, the sky was dark, and a cold wind moved through the empty lot. A few streetlights flickered weakly. Emma stood beside her car, holding the small drive in her hand, her fingers tight around it. She heard a car approach and turned around. Mark stepped out, wearing a simple jacket and carrying a small bag. "Are you the one who emailed me?" he asked in a low voice. "Yes," Emma said softly. "I'm Dr. Emma Lewis. I work for the government. And this—" She held out the drive. "Is the truth they could not hide anymore?" Mark looked at her face. He saw fear, but also courage. He took the drive very carefully, as if it was something powerful. "I'll check this," he said. "If it's real, the world will know." Emma nodded. In that moment, she knew her life had changed forever. And somewhere above them, beyond the clouds, maybe something else was watching too. Mark Hill reached home just after 1 a.m. The streets were quiet, and the city lights looked soft in the distance. But Mark's mind was anything but calm. He went straight to his study room, locked the door, and placed the small drive on his desk. The room was filled with books, old newspapers, and computer screens. This was the place where he had broken many stories before, but tonight felt different. Tonight, he was holding something that could shake the entire world. Mark plugged the drive into his computer. Folder after folder appeared on the screen, all with strange names and security tags. He double-clicked the first video. His eyes widened as he watched a glowing orb move faster than a fighter jet. The pilot's voice in the recording trembled as he said, "I can't follow it. It just disappeared." Mark had seen fake videos before. He knew how to tell real from fake. This one was 100% real. The voice was real. The fear was real. The flight data was real. He opened more files. A report showed a giant triangle floating above a desert. It cast no shadow and made no sound. Another file had audio from a submarine captain describing a huge object moving underwater faster than any torpedo. There were radar screenshots showing impossible speeds and sudden changes in direction. Every file was shocking. Every file was powerful. And every file was something the government had tried to hide for decades. Mark leaned back in his chair and rubbed his forehead. He realized something. This evidence could change human history. But with that knowledge came danger. If the government had hidden this for so long, they would not be happy when it became public. Still, Mark believed the world had a right to know. People had been lied to for years. Now the truth was in front of him. By 5 a.m., he had finished reviewing most of the files. His hands were slightly shaken not from fear, but from the weight of what he was about to do. He began writing the article. He wrote about the videos, the reports, the pilot's testimonies, and the secret folder Emma had discovered. He did not mention Emma's full name. He wanted to protect her. At 7 a.m., he pressed publish. Within minutes, the story went viral. Millions of people clicked on it. Comments began flooding in. Some said, "I knew it. I always believed." Others said, "This can't be real. It must be a trick." News channels began calling Mark's phone nonstop. Social media exploded with hashtags like #UFO truth, #government lies, and #we are not alone. People around the world stayed glued to their screens, watching the videos Mark had posted. By noon, major news stations around the world aired the story. Scientists were invited to talk on live TV. Some were confused, some were excited, some were scared, but none of them could deny the evidence. In the afternoon, protests started in several countries. People gathered outside government buildings, demanding answers. Some held signs that said, "Tell us the truth," while others held signs saying, "Welcome aliens." The world had changed in less than half a day. Meanwhile, Emma watched everything from her small apartment. She sat on her sofa with her knees pulled close to her chest. Her phone buzzed non-stop, but she ignored all calls. She watched the news and saw people arguing, crying, laughing, and panicking. She heard analysts say that the videos were real military footage. She heard politicians deny involvement. She heard experts say that the technology in the videos was far beyond human capabilities. Emma felt a mixture of pride and fear. She knew she had done the right thing, but she also knew the government would try to find out who had leaked the files. Her hands trembled a little as she closed the curtains and turned off all the lights. She whispered to herself, "Please let this lead to something good. Please." That evening, something happened that no one expected. The government finally spoke. A group of serious-looking officials appeared on TV. They looked tired and stressed. One of them began, "Today, leaked files have revealed information about unidentified aerial phenomena. We cannot deny that these files are real. The objects seen in the videos are not ours. They are not from any known country. We have been studying them for many years." The world gasped. The official continued, "We do not know what these objects are, or where they come from. We hid this information to avoid panic, but now the truth is out." Millions of people watching this announcement felt a strange mix of emotions. Some cried with relief. Some felt terrified. Some simply sat quietly, trying to understand what this meant for the future of humanity. After the announcement, scientists everywhere started working together. They studied the patterns in the sightings. They tried to analyze the physics of the UFOs. They tried to understand if the objects were controlled by intelligent beings. No one knew the answers, but everyone knew one thing: the world would never be the same. That night, Mark sat in his office, reading reactions from around the globe. His article had become the biggest story in history, but he also felt uneasy. He wondered if someone might come after him. He wondered if Emma was safe. Then, around midnight, Mark received a message on his phone. It was from an unknown number. "It's not over. There is more. Be ready." Mark sat up straight and stared at the message. He didn't know who sent it, but he knew the story was far from finished. At the same time, in her apartment, Emma heard something outside her door. Soft footsteps. A whisper? She froze, listening carefully. Was it just a neighbor? Or was someone looking for her? She held her breath and waited. The world outside was celebrating, arguing, panicking, but Emma and Mark both knew the truth. This was only the beginning. The world did not sleep after the government admitted the truth. News channels stayed live all night. People gathered on rooftops and in open fields, hoping to see something in the sky. Social media was filled with theories. Some said the visitors were peaceful explorers. Others believed they might be watching Earth for a reason. But no one had real answers, only questions and fear. Mark Hill sat in his office with the lights turned off. Only the glow of his computer screen filled the room. He kept reading the mysterious text message he had received. "It's not over. There is more. Be ready." He did not recognize the number, but he felt a strange certainty that the message was real and important. After all, the person who sent it clearly knew something. Suddenly, Mark's phone buzzed again. This time, it was Emma. "Mark, I think someone is outside my apartment," she whispered. Her voice was shaking. Mark stood up instantly. "Are you safe?" "I don't know," she replied. "I can hear footsteps in the hallway." "Listen to me," Mark said. "Stay calm. Don't open the door. I'm coming right now." 15 minutes later, Mark arrived at her building. He parked far away and walked quietly toward the entrance. The hallways were dim and silent. When he reached her door, he saw a small black device on the floor. It looked like some kind of listening tool. Someone had been eavesdropping. Emma opened the door and quickly pulled him inside. She looked scared but relieved. "They know," she whispered. "They know I leaked the files." Mark looked around her apartment. The curtains were closed. Papers were scattered everywhere. Emma had been researching new UFO reports even while hiding. She always wanted answers. "You can't stay here," Mark said. "It's not safe. You have to leave with me." Emma nodded. She grabbed her bag, laptop, and a few important notes. Before leaving, she took one last look at her apartment, a place that had once felt safe, but now felt dangerous. They drove to a small cabin outside the city, a place Mark used for private work. It had no neighbors and no cameras, only trees and silence. Inside the cabin, Emma finally sat down and tried to breathe normally. "Mark, there's something you need to know," she said quietly. "Before everything went public, I received a strange message on my government computer. It said, 'Observation phase ending. Contact may begin.' I didn't understand it, but now I think I do." Mark felt a chill. "You think the UFOs might actually come here? Like openly?" Emma nodded slowly. "Yes, I think they have been watching us for a long time. And now that the truth is out, something might be changing." Before Mark could reply, the cabin lights flickered. A low humming sound filled the air. It felt like the vibration was coming from outside the walls. "What is that?" Emma whispered. They both rushed to the window and looked out into the dark forest. At first, everything seemed normal. Then they saw a soft blue glow rising between the trees. It grew brighter and brighter, until it filled the whole forest with a strange light. A shape appeared, smooth, silent, and floating just above the ground. It was not large, maybe the size of a car, but its presence felt powerful. The object emitted no smoke, no fire, no sound, only light. Emma grabbed Mark's arm. "It's one of them." The craft slowly moved forward, stopping just a few meters from the cabin. Mark felt his heart pounding. He wanted to run, but his legs felt frozen. Emma's eyes were wide, filled with fear and awe. Then something unexpected happened. The object projected a beam of light onto the ground. The beam did not burn or damage anything. Instead, it created an image like a moving hologram. The image showed planets, stars, and long paths of light connecting different worlds. The hologram moved like a map of the universe. It was as if the craft was trying to communicate. Emma stepped closer to the window. "Mark, I think they're showing us where they come from." The hologram zoomed out, showing billions of stars. Then it focused on one small cluster far away. A symbol appeared, simple and glowing. "What does it mean?" Mark asked. Emma shook her head. "I don't know, but it's not random. This is deliberate, intentional." The craft hovered for one more moment. Then the hologram faded. The blue lights dimmed, and the object slowly rose into the sky. It moved straight upward, then disappeared into the clouds without a single sound. Emma and Mark stood in silence for a long time. Neither spoke. They knew they had witnessed something historic, something humanity had never seen before. Early the next morning, Emma contacted a team of trusted scientists from around the world. She told them everything. Within hours, they all flew to the cabin. They examined the ground where the hologram appeared. The soil had a faint glow, as if the energy still remained. One scientist said, "This is not human technology. This is far beyond anything we understand." Another pointed at the sky and said, If they can travel that far, what else can they do? Meanwhile, governments around the world were confused and frightened. Many leaders wanted to hide the new information, but it was too late. People in nearby towns had also seen the blue light in the forest. Videos started appearing online. The world once again exploded with excitement and fear. Emma and Mark held a private meeting with the scientists in the cabin. "We have to handle this carefully," Emma said. "This is not just evidence anymore. This is contact." Mark added, "If we panic, the world will panic. We have to understand their message." The hologram they saw had been recorded on Mark's camera. They played the video again and again, studying the map, the symbols, the colors. Slowly they began to realize something important. The message was not a warning. It was not a threat. It was an invitation. The symbols pointed toward a distant part of the universe, as if saying, "We are here. We have always been here. And now, we are ready." As the days passed, sightings increased. More people around the world saw strange lights, floating shapes, and silent crafts. Governments held emergency meetings. Scientists worked day and night. The world felt as if it was standing on the edge of something new, something enormous. One night, Emma and Mark stood outside the cabin, looking up at the stars. "Do you think they want peace?" Mark asked. Emma watched the sky and whispered, "I don't know, but I think they want understanding. And maybe they want us to join them." Mark nodded. "Then, everything we did mattered?" Emma smiled softly. "Yes, because the truth is no longer hidden. The world is finally awake." Above them, as if hearing her words, a small light moved across the sky, silent, bright, and full of mystery. Humanity's new chapter had begun.